Hi, this is the Faithful Poet, and this is episode 10, and I'm calling it Optimism. All right, this is the new year, and I want to wish you all a happy new year and let you know that, hey, this is going to be a great year for us, right? But one of the things we have to do is ensure that we put optimism at a premium, right? Because we can be pressed. We can have some pushback from the media, from the family, from work. There's all kinds of places where it can really affect your optimism, right? And you could start going, well, maybe it isn't going to work, or maybe it's not for me, or whatever the case may be, right? But what I want you to know is being optimistic is absolutely beneficial to your physical and your mental health, right? Regardless of what's going on around you, right? Don't let the outside forces, sink you. A ship will only sink if it lets the water in, right? If there's a hole and it lets the water in. And maybe not having optimism is that hole that allows, you to get flooded with bad thoughts or maybe thinking about the future in a way that's not 100%. Um, but in these times, we have to stay optimistic, right? Because optimism is something that is proven to improve your resilience in taking things on, your resilience and how you look at the future coming to be in a wonderful way, right? And it's not always easy, right? Especially, like I said, with the outside pressures that we have, right? But when you're optimistic and you actually add faith to your optimism, right? So optimism's like, that's like a power up, like a 10 power up, right? If you add faith on top of your optimism, man, you're looking, you're 100% ready to go. You're ready to take things on and make it happen, right? And y when you're optimistic, your relationships are better, right? You're not as stressed out. Even your athletic performance is better, right? An optimist who maybe loses that track meet, right, will work harder to come back and get that victory, right? Where a pessimist might lose and get into some kind of depression or not want to push anymore because, well, I lost, right? No, no, it's optimism and faith that's going to lift you higher, no matter what your obstacles are, right? And I want you to know that all of us have things that can work against us and they can make it, feel really tough. But I want you to know that optimism is one of the greatest tools you can have, right? And making sure that your mental well-being and your career success, it all comes together when you look at things in a positive mindset, right? And when you add a positive mindset with a strong faith, wow, man, you're really working it then, right? Um, Pessimism's cheap and easy to find, right? 6 out of 10 people are pessimistic, and so it's not hard to find, right? And you'll see them around. They're grouchy and they're mean, and they don't feel like playing with anybody, and they don't feel like being nice, and they're pretty rude, and they know that the world is gonna end, right? Well, what I'm gonna tell you is this, right? I don't buy it, right? You know, when somebody asks me, right, why are you an optimist, right? I say, what are my what are my choices, right? To be a pessimist and believe that it's all going downhill and we're not going to make it. And yeah, well, no, I have too much faith and too much optimism for that. I combine that stuff and I say, you know what? Upward and onward. That's where I'm going. And the faithful are coming with me, right? And we're going to make it happen together, right? And we're going to high five along the way. And you know what? If you fall on our journey, I'm going to help pick you up, right? And I hope you'll do the same for me. So, with that, I want you to know that this is the Faithful Poet. I'm just putting it out there so you know it. And have a great and wonderful new year. Thank you.